Welcome to News Desk. My name is Kamini Nyamani Amano. Today on the program, NPP takes off with its Wongbo demonstration here in Accra. We'll get in touch with our correspondents on the ground and we'll bring you up to speed with what is happening there. Also to come this morning, the Energy Ministry says it cannot be blamed for the purchase of 38 luxurious vehicles for the rural electrification project. I'll be telling you why and who perhaps should be blamed for this. And beyond that, we'll discuss the Rich Hospital. Why would we do that? Because the Rich Hospital risks being disconnected off the national grid as far as electricity supply is concerned, because they owe the ECD a lot of money, and the ECD gave it a 7-day ultimatum which ends today. We'll get into that story for such an essential health facility here in the country. But be a part of the program by sharing your thoughts on any of the issues we are discussing, or if you have any questions to ask at all on our social media platforms. Join News on TV, on Facebook and on Twitter. On Facebook, I am Kamini Nyamani Amano and I tweet at Kamini. I'll be absolutely thrilled if you get in touch. Don't go away. I'll be right back with our first conversation. You're welcome to the program. Now, thousands of supporters of the opposition New Patriotic Party have taken to the streets in Accra to protest what they describe as government's poor handling of the energy crisis. The demonstration is being staged under the banner of a Ghana language phrase, Wongbo, which means we are dying. We have a team of reporters out there on the streets with these demonstrators, and we can now join some of them with some live updates on happenings there. We'll start off with Derek Ekosam. Hello, Derek. Well, but those are some pictures you're seeing from the Obra spot where the procession begins. Right now, we understand that the procession has begun from there. These people clad in red and wearing red clothes and red armbands and headgears are there because they say we are dying here in Ghana. They are protesting government's poor handling of the energy crisis. In a bit, we shall get in touch with our men on the ground to bring us up to speed what is happening. We're expecting another Danko Akufo-Addo, who's flag bearer for the party, to join in this procession. We also understand that members of Occupy Ghana are also there. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia and Alan Tremontaine, all of the NPP, are there to support the party in its bid to demand action from government. But we'll get into that in a bit. So let's now turn attention to some other issue. Now, the Energy and Petroleum Ministry says it cannot be blamed for the purchase of 38 luxury vehicles for the rural electrification projects. News of the purchase of the vehicles have created a public uproar over the last 24 hours. But according to the Energy Ministry, the decision to purchase these luxury vehicles was negotiated by the Kufuor administration in 2007. And I've been joined in the studio by Joy News' assignment editor Martha Akwa-Krenzel, who's been going through the Auditor General's report. Thanks for being here, Martha. We'll speak with you in a bit, so we get to know what is in the report. But I have Katie Hammond over the telephone as well. For the time that the Energy Ministry is placed to it, it meant that he was in office as Deputy Energy Minister. Yes. And we want to find out from him a quick reaction to this from the from the Energy Ministry. Thank you very much for joining us here, Katie.
Hello, good morning. But I'm struggling to hear you, so if it will be audible enough, I will be grateful.
Very well. Now, what we have...
system properly in place. I can't hear you properly at all.
Well, let me give it another try. What we have heard is that the purchase of the 38 luxurious vehicles for the rural electrification was part of a project that was started during the NPP era, at I'm
afraid the system has to be properly positioned.
Very well.
I can hardly hear you.
Would fix it and raise you over the telephone again. Thank you very much. Would raise Katie Hammond over the telephone again. I have my producers work on that quickly and would speak to Katie Hammond. But Martha is here with me in the studio. And what did you see in this report?
I saw very disturbing procedure. What it means generally is that the due process was not followed, that there was money approved for particular projects, rural electrification, and then we ended up using part of that money to buy luxurious vehicles. We ended up using part of the money to do things that were not approved of. Aside all that, we did sole sourcing. And sole sourcing, from the reports, the Auditor General's report, has cost us so much. And when we are doing sole sourcing, seriously, we have procedures that when we are going to do it, it should be under certain circumstances. First of all, it should be because the company we are sole sourcing should be the only one that can provide us with that service.
But what kind of vehicles are we talking about here?
The vehicles, we have the Ford F-150 truck, which we bought 20. We bought 20 of those. Then we have the Lexus.
Just a second on that. We'll get to the detail of those of those cars. But Katie Hammond is back over the telephone. Thank you very much for joining us again, Katie. Hello, Katie.
Well, let's see what I hear. Yes, okay. Go on, let me see. If I understand, your colleague, it comes through nicely when your colleague calls. But
let's give it another try.
Yeah, go on, let me hear you. Go on.
Right.
Can you hear
now,
me?
what we have picked up is that this particular project was begun in the NPP era, at which time you were Deputy Energy Minister. The project that dispatches 38 luxurious vehicles.
Well, I don't quite know the number of vehicles involved in this. But the point I've been making this morning is this. We shouldn't be very emotional about it. As to how the vehicles that were ordered metamorphosed into Chryslers and Lexus and those other vehicles, there might be an issue. I'm not so sure how that came about. Maybe the then Minister Oteje, Bua was then the Deputy Minister of Energy in charge of power. But Dr. Oteje was the person in charge. So how these things came about that we brought those things. It's an issue that needs to be answered by those who were around at the time. But the basic issue really is that to extend the limit of rural electrification to all the communities that we'll talk about. Obviously, the country doesn't have that much money for that sort of purpose. So we go for certain loans. But there is a specific condition on those loans. The condition essentially is that the loan must be concessionary. And by concessionary, a grant element, the grant is free. A grant element must always be more than 35%. So we, for example, went to Japan, we had concessional loans. We went to China, we had concessional loans. And then this Bank, American Exim Bank came in. The 35-36% of it would have been concessionary. Now, what happens is that as part of the contract, condition for the execution of the contract, ministry would normally ask for some vehicles. And I've heard people talk about, well, why don't you stand by the roadside and we don't government, what we call public transport? It doesn't work like that. You would need a vehicle to go to places in the north, various in the, it's a rural, but in case it is rural electrification. So you need vehicles to go to the rural electrification. So we have pickups, we have robot cars like Prados and those other vehicles to be able to do the route. So that's essentially the issue. I've heard bits about computers and photocopiers. Those really, as I said, it's not really of any moment. They are things that of necessity will be needed for the purpose of what we would want to do. So my issue is that let us get down to the details and then stick to the issue of priceless.
You were at the Energy Ministry at the time this project was taken off.
I'm sorry, take it again.
I'm saying you were at the time of at the Energy Ministry. So did you sanction that these vehicles be purchased? So much so that
I don't know for 1 minute that we asked for Chrysler. I'm not even sure whether 2006, 2007. I don't know when the vehicles came in. I don't know. I mean, nobody, would ask for Chrysler for what? Nobody will ask for the other one, Lexus. For what? I mean, take Lexus to Mopurugu Yoyo. Take Lexus to Napanturi. It doesn't work like that.
What we had was the fact that the contract was such that we could not do anything about it but purchase American vehicles. And if you're talking of American vehicles, then very well, we are talking about the luxurious ones. And so they had no option than to go in for it. So you may have such
an option. I don't understand that. Having no option. I mean, there are options. There are pickups. I'm not even sure whether the Lexus is an American car or something. So the point which is fundamental for the purpose of this discussion is that there is always some input, some arrangement for some vehicles, some cross-country vehicles to be brought. Those would be normally the pickups, and then, of course, the paddles that can do the distance. Anybody who comes up with the argument that there was no option, we had to go for Lexus and we had to go for Chrysler, I'm not so sure about that. There would always have been an option. I do not. These things were not brought in at the time when we were in the office. So we couldn't, in details, give account of how is it that these were the things that were brought. And I can also tell you this, is that when you ask an American company to for the contract is awarded to an American company because, of course, it's the condition that goes with the Exim Bank credit that we took. It is an American company which of necessity would come and undertake it. So I think that they would want to come in with the American vehicles. But I'm not sure to come in with American vehicles necessarily means that come in with Chrysler and then with Lexus. That I don't understand.
We'll leave it here for now. We'll leave it here for now, Katie. Thank you very much. Katie Hammond is spokesperson. He was with the Ministry of Energy during the NPP's tenure. But we'll come back to this issue. Let's go to the one boat demo organized by the NPP. Some interesting developments from there. We can now go live to the procession. Demonstration here in Accra, organized by the biggest opposition party here in Ghana, the NPP, that is. People wielding placards, and we'll find out what are on these placards and how far the distance for this exercise.
From the Transport and Circle, currently going through the Circle at Abaka Road, and the demonstration by the New Patriotic Party, the one-go demonstration, which is in Ghana in English means we are dying demonstration, has kick-started. A lot of things happening here, so many placards all around. We're waiting for the flag bearer of the MPP, Nana Akufo-Addo, to arrive. He has arrived together with his vice presidential candidate, Mahmoud Bawumia, doctor, and I've also seen Alan Tremantin also here. A lot of supporters of the New Patriotic Party are here, and we are moving today from the Transport, hitting the streets of Ghana. Let me talk to some people over here. Why are you on the streets today?
Yeah, I am a student of University of Ghana. Look what I'm a Commonwealth for. And in fact, the way this lighthouse has affected us, when I came to school, my steel that I brought, a steel that I prepared for like 100 cities. Within 3 days, I'm telling you, my brother, we have no knowledge to learn. People are suffering. Ghanaians are suffering. So what we are agitating for is Mahama should do something else. In 2016, we are going to vote him.
You want him to do something? What exactly do you want him to do?
We want him to bring back the power. We need land. We need land. We can't pay our school fees. We can't pay school fees. People are suffering.
That is what we are saying now. Yes, I also have here with me the TESCON president for the University of Ghana. You're welcome to join News on Multi TV.
Thank you, thank
now
you.
Now you're on the street today as the student wing. What is your expectation?
We want Muhammad to resign. Because the breakdown of the electricity is very, very bad. We want him to resign at all costs. It is not one with us.
It's not over. Why would you want him to resign? He has at least a year and a half to live. If you want him to resign, what exactly are your expectations? I still want to talk to the TESCON president. Alright, so these are supporters of the NPP from the University of Ghana. Alright, so that is the song you are hearing from the TESCON of the University of Ghana. I'm being overwhelmed by the people here, together with the other placards as well. Security is extremely tight. I can assure you that there are lots of security men. You spoke to Superintendent Sefas after the public relations of the Ghana Police Service not too long ago, and he said that there are lots of police people here that we can talk to. And so we are still on the street. We are still walking all the way from here. And for me personally, covering this demonstration is a big exercise for me. And we get you the live updates as and when we do get them.
We'll stay on this Wongbo demonstration over the next few minutes. Kwache Afre Niyama is one of a man there too, and he joined me over the telephone with some detail on this while we see some live pictures from the procession as well. Now, Kwache? Hello, Kwache? The line dropped there, but we'll fix that and get Kwache over the telephone again. But take a look at what's happening there right now.
Can iron and look okay.
Let me just get over the telephone now and speak with Kwache Afre Niyama, who's at another point in the procession right now. Hello, Kwache.
Kamini.
What can you report from where you are?
Well, as you may know, the protest march has officially begun. Nanado arrived at the venue a while ago, and at the trunk of a pickup together with Dr. Mahmoud Baumia and their wife, indeed, Mr. Kwabena Japan Party General Secretary John Boadu, National Organizer of the Opposition Party, were also there, and they departed from the Obra which was filled to capacity at that moment. And I can tell you, literally so, it's a charged atmosphere here. The streets of Adabaka, where the protesters have reached now, just in front of the Universal Merchant Bank, is filled to capacity. Nanado is somewhere in between the demonstrators now, but I was at the far end of the protesters, tried moving in front, and I can tell you that it took me some over 20 minutes to get to the beginning of where the leadership were, and that should give you an idea about the numbers. About 10,000 demonstrators here, many of them in what has now become known as the Doomsaw T-shirts. Some are in black, in red as well, and some really interesting inscriptions on the placards that they are holding. Some say that John Mahama, the head of all Doomsaw presidents, Mahama, your lights, no here, bring back our lights. And pretty interesting scenes I've seen so far. Also, Kamini, some of the protesters carrying old refrigerators with inscriptions indicating that they've not been able to use these electrical appliances, also like the irons as well, because of the erratic power supply.
Kwate, I'm going to have you host the line just briefly. Former General Secretary for the party is speaking with us. We'll pick that briefly and come back to you.
Cannot take this country by right. This Doomsaw is killing everybody's business in this country. Students are crying. The business community are crying. Every Ghanaian from all walks of life are crying. It is about time that we show the country that we are not happy with this incompetence. All these things that are happening is about incompetence. The squandering of money, the pilfering, the corruption. That is why we cannot find the money to buy the fuel to power these generators.
There have been several explanations as to why we are in this crisis. Are you not satisfied with any of them?
I have not seen one. I have not seen anything that this government has brought. Now they are talking about 2016. What about today? People are suffering. If by 2016, 2017, everybody's job is collapsed, what do we do? So we need solutions now, not tomorrow.
Have you been affected personally by the power crisis?
I have, because what? I have a business that has collapsed. My business, and sometimes, look, I have never seen any country where electricity is on at 1 a.m., 2 a.m. By 5 o'clock it is off. And therefore it means that all of us who are doing our businesses by the day cannot have electricity, to help us in our business. It is wrong. It borders on incompetence, and this government must be gotten rid of. 2016, Ghanaians must show him the essence, so that a better government led by Nana Akufo-Addo is ushered in, so that together we can all, be happy.
You were in power from 2001 to 2008. You faced similar challenges. How did you surmount those challenges?
We did by bringing in generators to power. And the generators are all there, except that they don't have the money to buy the crude to power them.
Right, we'll go back to that in a bit, but let's talk about the Rural Electrification Audit Report that has created a lot of conversation in homes over the 38 luxurious vehicles purchased because of the Rural Electrification Project. Martha Akwa-Crensel is here with me. She's been going through this report and she's been sharing detail of it with us. Go ahead with the detail of this report.
Okay, so I was saying we didn't get a better deal because due process was not followed. If you're going to do some of these things, there was a procedure. Now, if you were going to use the contingency fund, it should be something that is so necessary that we do. But I'm sure this luxurious vehicle, we had planned to buy it. And so where is the money from? If you're telling me it's not from the contingency fund, where did that money come from? Did you pick it from the fund meant for the project specifically, or you took it from elsewhere that you are yet to tell us from?
Is the report clear on where the funding came from? The funding
no, the report is saying it may have been taken from there, because that is the only place you can dip your hand when you need it urgently.
This is the project that was being financed.
Yes.
Not from us.
Not from us.
From donor partners.
Yes, and that's what we used it for.
Well, but then again, let's go through the kind of vehicles that were purchased.
Okay, so we have I mentioned the Ford F-150 truck. We bought 20 of them at a cost of 769 point something US dollars. Everything is in US dollars. Then you have the greater Ford F-150. We bought 2 of those at a cost of over $120,000. We have the Ford Escape, 3 of them, over $157,000 US dollars. We have the Lexus.
So basically, we are talking Fords, we are talking
Lexus, we are talking Chrysler.
And that was my point with Katie Hammond. If the condition
vehicles
was that we bought American cars, I'm not sure which other American cars we knew about.
But they are all luxurious vehicles.
The Fords and the Chryslers,
and the other equipment, the office equipment. We bought.
We'll get into that. But did the report indicate the processes that were used in purchasing these?
No, they were. Most of them were sole sourcing, and that is the problem. That if you were going to do this, and then you're telling me that the contractor said he is giving you this to the best of his knowledge at the most competitive price, you should at least verify. Because we have procurement laws also. And so if you are going for this, we should be sure that we are getting value for money. We didn't get value for money at all, but the Energy Ministry's response to the audit report, stated in the report, is that to the best of their knowledge, they did what they could. Best enough to give us value for money.
Very well. Let's not go to Collins. Collins is a procurement expert. Collins Ajiman Sap on that. But before I do that, I just want to say that we put in efforts to raise the Energy Ministry over the telephone. Did they really not have an option in purchasing those luxurious vehicles? Because then again, you're executing a project and you need to get your priorities straight. But Collins has joined me now. Thank you very much for your patience, Collins.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Now, I'm sure that you have read the reports around this Auditor General report. You know the items that were purchased on sole sourcing. What would be your assessment of the use of sole sourcing in here?
Okay, let me say I've not read the report. I read the story on your online base. Just to have an idea as to what is going on. Well, you know, I hear this one is a donor-funded project, and normally within the procurement space, when it is a donor-funded, normally the procurement rules governing the practice or that particular project may be dependent on where the donation or where the grant or money is coming from. But notwithstanding that, what I know is that the Ghana's Procurement Act or law is one of the best in the world, and it is sanctioned by the World Bank and all the other donor institutions that you can think of. And therefore, once the project is coming to Ghana, it is hoped that it will go according to a proper procurement procedure, whether Ghana or a donor country. Now, when you talk of sole sourcing is normally applied when you have a monopoly. I mean, you can't get the item from any other source, but from that particular supplier. Also, in our law, you can again do sole sourcing where we call extension of contract. Let's say you've acquired a particular equipment, and initially you estimated buying, let's say, 80% of the whole project, thinking that that will complete your job. But somewhere along the line, you find out that, no, you need more of a particular product. Then you go to the original vendor that won the initial...
So Collins, in this case, when laptop computers, desktop computers were purchased on sole sourcing grounds for as high as $2,000, for you as a procurement man, what would you say about that?
Well, okay, let me come to the procurement area. These items are items that can be found anywhere. So the first question that a procurement person will ask is, Are you going to get all this equipment from only one source? I don't think computers and printers and other things can be obtained from only one source. And therefore, if somebody applied a sole source in that area, then that person needs to be questioned. But as I indicate earlier, we don't know the donor agency and as to the procurement processes that they wanted to use. But from where I think, if you buy toners and printers and computers and photocopiers from one source, from Ghana's law, you've gone against the Ghana procurement law, because these items can be obtained from various sources. So applying sole source or even single source, even what we call restricted tendering, you need to seek approval, and you need to advance reasons why you think you need to do that. So if this one, and even sole source, to apply sole source, you need to get an approval from the Public Procurement Authority. You can't, if the fact that you want to even apply sole source and even the source is a monopoly, you still don't have to just wake up and just go to buy from one source.
Another concern
from Public Procurement
Another
Authority.
concern, Collins, is the pricing of these items that were bought through sole sourcing. Is that a process in procurement that inflates price of products at the end of the day?
Good. That's what happens. That is why at times you need to have approval from all quarters before sole source or restricted tendering is done, because like the pricing you talk of, you have nothing to compare. So this sole supplier just come and give you a price. Oh, master, reduce it for us. Okay, I give you 10% discount, and the deal is sealed. That is why the sole source and the single source, the restricted tendering, you don't just wake up and apply it.
Very well. Thank you very much,
definitely,
Collins.
once it's a sole source, definitely without approval, definitely the prices will shoot up. You are at the mercy of the supplier.
Collins, thank you very much for your time. Now, I want us to wrap up on this conversation. We're unable to reach the Energy Ministry at this point. I'm sure we'll do in subsequent broadcasts. But the report says that this was done according to the procurement people to the best of their technical...
Yes. The Ministry of Energy and Petroleum accepted the recommendation of the audit report and then said throughout the process, the contractor maintained that the whole negotiation and everything, materials, equipment he was giving out, were from novel technology and were being purchased from a jurisdiction with higher cost in labor and materials. And that's why they were expensive.
I see. We'll get a reaction from the Energy Ministry in a bit. Thank you very much for your time, Martha. Martha Akwakrenso is here with us at Joy News. But let's move on to something else.